Hello everyone, this is Shokora Zouheikyoku, aka chocomint, and welcome back to our Let's Play of Sacrarium Gelus. In the last playthrough, we have been learning a lot more about Heimos, about what he does and how cool he is, and spending time with him at the Gelus, at the Sacrarium at NG Gelus. So that's a really nice experience actually. Very nice. And hopefully this time we will continue to learn more about him, and I'm not sure how many weeks that has been, so well then, let's start. It felt strange to realize how much time had passed. It passed surprisingly quickly. I had thought I would spend my days staring holes into the wall and counting each second. Instead, I had a handful of things to do and someone to talk to. Sometimes I would seek him out to ask him things. Other times, he would come to me to pass the time while waiting for something to process. Ooh, that's nice. Mortal world did have alchemy? Absolutely. It was required for survival. I see. Is your medicine more alchemy than medicine or mixture? Some medicine lacks magic, some has it. It depends on the medicine, the patient, and their situation. Does mine have magic in it? Yes. I'm using an alchemical mixture instead of a usual painkiller. If I gave you that like usual, you'll be comatose. Well, you might appreciate the silence. Surprisingly, I have found myself enjoying these conversations, so I wouldn't. Aww, so cute. I blinked at him in surprise. It's not like there's anyone else for miles. Besides this, all I have are letters, and my pen pals can take forever to write back. You have pen pals? He nodded. Really? Really? No, I won't talk about them. I doubted at that. A later time, perhaps. Fine, fine. In the blink of an eye, a week had passed. Oh, it's week 2 now. Okay. It actually quite took a lot of time before we finished a week, actually. That's really nice. Heimos was a character for sure. Not in the way the judge portrayed him. It was kind of funny how fast the intrigue and awe of a legend could fade when you were around him a lot. Sometimes Heimos was that being of legend, powerful, scary, and inhuman. Most of the time, he walked into walls because he refused to put his book down. Oh my god, Heimos! Because he refused to put his book down and let ravens play with his hair. Okay. I never expected a living god to be clumsy of all things, but Heimos had plenty of bruises to prove otherwise. That's cute. He was kind of cute. Ooh, we shared the same mind! In a bubbling, overly stoic kind of way. Is it, what do you call a gapmo? I'm not sure. Got a setting? Heimos called out to me from his library door. Yes, Heimos? He poked his head out into the main antechamber. Are you doing anything right now? Trying to remember a recipe I want to use for dinner. Other than that, nothing. What's up? I need to go back out into the forest again. I understood what he meant immediately. He needed me to come with him, or else he might lose track of time. Given how big Empty Gelus is, he could easily be gone for weeks. Is it alright if we go soon? Of course. Another cozy walk together then? I'm starting to think these might just be excuses to see me. Oh, flirting! I expected a quip or a bit of biting sarcasm. Instead, Heimos' cheeks faintly turned pink.
Ooh, nailed it. What? No, no. Ooh, yeah, the blush is really heavy now, sir.
He looked away from me then, stretching at his face. It is something I need to do, and I do have valid concerns. He shook his head a bit before frowning at me. You are teasing me with my awkwardness. My brief bit of shock faded into laughter.
Oh, so cute.
His cheeks continued to remain pink. It is not funny. You caught me off guard. I'm sorry, I didn't expect you to get flustered. His frown darkened into an embarrassed scowl. I felt a little bit bad then. It has been a long time, even before I was imprisoned. He crossed his arms defensively. I need to gather a few things. We'll leave soon. I couldn't resist. And wait for your cheeks to stop being pink.
Yeah, there's still pink cheeks over there.
He let out a strangled noise and disappeared back into his library.
Oh, so fun.
That had been really cute. Heimos carried an odd crystal in one hand, his staff in the other. I was curious about it. Is that staff magical? Not on its own. It's just to help me cast larger spells without hurting myself. You can hurt yourself with your own magic? Very easily. I wonder if that was why all mages have staffs, but it felt like a redundant question. I tried to get a better look at the art crystal. What's that? Another thing to help with magic? Heimos shifted the crystal a little further away from me. All I could see was that it was a mixture of white and light blue. It seemed to have flowers of eyes growing out of it. It's a bunch of spells back together to break another spell. We call them spell breakers. This one is meant to break a specific curse. Heimos paused. The panacea put into this was used up a while before you arrived. If I had one when you came to my mountain, you would be at home already. It's okay. I figured it was something like that. Beyond the fact Heimos was too nice to do something so cruel, he was too practical to keep me around longer than necessary. Can I look at it? Heimos hesitantly shifted the crystal closer to me. The light blue potion was a perfectly smooth orb that swirled with runes and power. A crest of white crystal clung to patches of it. From this crest, flowers made of ice grew and shifted in the wind. It's pretty. Don't say that. What? Why? For those who use magic, all magic is an extension of ourselves. It's like calling me pretty.
Well, you are pretty.
I know you don't mean to do that, which makes it awkward. I meant the magic. Perfect, since you're pretty too.
Yep. The blush token, so cute.
Heimos blinked at me a few times.
Okay, so cute. I mean, I am aware that I am.
Your humility is even prettier. Heimos rolled his eyes at me. I believe false humility to be a tactic used to suit an inferiority complex, which I do not have. Heimos paused. You're pretty too, I suppose.
Oh, thank you.
You suppose? Heimos stubbornly refused to look down at me then. You are. I almost didn't hear him. Thanks. He huffed a bit. Thank you for showing it to me. He really seemed out of his comfort zone in doing so. It is not a problem. Heimos led the way after that. Periodically, he would pause and turn to glare at something. Only once he seemed satisfied that whatever he saw had left would he start walking again. Devils? Yes. I shivered. Am I in danger? While I am around? Never. The devils didn't seem to want to pick up fights with Heimos today at least. I wonder if they were still weak after the blizzards tore them apart. Heimos did keep an active eye on all surroundings. He only got distracted when a particular black tree came into view. Stay back, near this free tree. Heimos patted the tree in question. It shuddered a bit, stretching and flexing its branches. The motion reminded me of a yarn. She will keep you safe while I am preoccupied. I nodded and stood next to the red tree. It was warm to red again. What are you going to do? Cast a spell that will probably fail. It shouldn't take that long. Heimos then stepped away from me and went to the large black tree. Like all the other black trees, it began to breathe upon sensing someone getting close. To my horror, Heimos didn't react or stop it when it wrapped sharp, thorny branches around him. He stubbornly continued forward, ignoring the damage being done to him. Must you always be so combative? He grumbled to himself. I watched as he pressed the strange crystal into the tree. The tree then screamed. It was an ear-piercing and raw. My hands clapped over my ears, and I felt the other black tree scream in response to the first one. I struggled to keep one eye open to observe what was happening. Nothing could be heard over the screaming, but I could watch as Heimos seemed to break the crystal on the tree. He then guided the resulting light that exploded out of it around the tree. It continued to scream and fight him the entire time. I was forced to close my eyes when the light surged. Nothing but screaming could be heard for a bit. Then, silence. I slowly opened my eyes and uncovered my ears. Heimos had stepped back from the black tree then. He was covered in cuts and bruises. One of his arms hung limply at his side. The black tree in question had changed just a bit. It had shrunk into the form of a person, a man, made of black bark. Barrel-chested with wild branches for hair, the man breathed in agony for a period of time. Then, with a creak and a crack, he exploded back into a tree once more. Heimos watched the display with cold eyes and merely sighed. Another feller. Heimos, are you okay? I stepped towards him and tried to help support his feet. Already, snow and frost gathered in his wounds, sealing them up and hiding them from view. For someone so thin, he was surprisingly heavy. I am fine. I can't die. His face was pinched and tight with pain. But obviously, you can still get hurt. Lean on me some more. We will both fall into the snow. No, thank you. Heimos. He let out a weary sigh. I'm fine. I am used to this. Even before he became a tree, Father wasn't exactly friendly. Father? I gave him a confused look. A wry smile crossed his face. So, that legend has faded out of awareness. I guess so. We can walk and talk. Heimos nodded for me to walk with him. A long time ago, my people got into a bloodfed with a few other caravans. It led to a vicious, multi-year war between us. And you fought this war here? It was the only thing that made sense. Heimos nodded. This place once belonged to Death. He was the one actively maintaining the seals to keep the gate closed. All fighting, of bloodshed, weakened those souls. Devils poured out of the mountain, and the gods had to act. As punishment, death cursed every person on this mountain into being a tree for eternity. I thought of all the trees that dotted this mountain and shuddered. So many people. It was horrible. Your people. Oh, Heimos, I am so sorry. We did deserve some punishment for our folly, but this was too far. Heimos glowered at the trees around us. He made their bodies immortal, but time did not remove them from her awareness. No mortal mind can survive eternity. After a while, they began to go mad. Only those who would turn off their own awareness of time have remained sane. The creatures? He nodded. They were all monks, or priests, or mages, those who can meditate to save themselves. Everyone else has become vicious due to the torment. You're trying to save them. Heimos shook his head with a sorrowful expression. I'm trying to kill them. They cannot be people again. The black ones at least. The gray ones? Maybe. But it is wishful thinking. For now, I want to grant them peace. My stomach churned. I wrapped an arm around Heimos' waist and squeezed. That is awful. It is. But it must be done. I refuse to let them suffer needlessly. He spoke so calmly about it. I could see he was determined no matter what. It is the community's job to protect the individual. It is the individual's job to protect the community. That is the nature of my people. I will not fail them forever. You won't. The words fell out of me before I could stop them. You'll fly away. You have eternity after all. He gave me a weak smile. True. I just hope that it doesn't take that long. I'm already beginning to forget pieces myself. Tell me then. I can help you remember for a bit. Heimos blinked a few times. It'll be boring. No, it won't be. Alright. Then quietly, our walk back was filled with old stories of people I've never met yet felt horrible for. By the time we got back to the Sacrarium, Heimos looked tired in more ways than one. I need to rest. He turned to me. Thank you, Kassadin. It's been a while since I've talked about home. I didn't do much. No, you did. With that vague statement, he disappeared into his library. I returned to the bedroom and collapsed onto the bed. Empty Gelus was full of cursed individuals. It was fascinating and terrible. Deep down, one question continued to bother me. If everyone was cursed, how was Heimos still himself? I mulled it over for the entire day before I realized what it meant. His motivation for discovering his immortality had probably been the curse on him. My hand reached up to my forehead instinctively. Heimos wasn't just suppressing my curse, it seemed. I wondered what would happen if his curse suddenly stopped being suppressed. Maybe I could use that against him. Let's not do that. I felt horrible just imagining it. He would be trapped as a dream more than likely, just like his brethren. Nobody would be able to save them then. It was a tragedy waiting to happen, and I felt horrible for all of them. I lowered my hand when the sound of something hitting the door caught my attention. I opened it to find one of the ravens holding a small bundle in his beak. Ah, right, my medicine. A little bit of blood stained the edge of the bulge. Oh no. I accepted the pouch from the raven. Thank you.
Welcome.
The raven flew off. I took the pouch in my pocket and ventured into Heimos' library. Heimos was easy to find. He was curled up near his desk, eyes partially closed. He didn't stir even when I crouched down by him. Upon closer observation, I saw that his body was slowly freezing over again. Heimos? His eyes fluttered open.
Cassidy. What?
He looked confused. You could have skipped this dose. Did you reopen your wounds?
A little. Doesn't matter.
His eyes closed again. I sighed upon realizing I didn't have the heart to scold him right now. I stood up and decided to at least make him more comfortable. I hauled a fur blanket into the library and tossed it over him. Once he looked slightly more relaxed, I left him to rest. I felt worried when Heimos didn't recover quickly. One might think being immortal would mean rapid healing, but Heimos didn't bob back up in just one day. I managed to catch him the next time he was making my medicine. Heimos, go lay back down.
This must be done.
I'll be fine if I miss one dose.
No.
He shook his head even though motion obviously pained him. Despite how tight and pale his face looked, his hands didn't shake while he was done repairing the herbs.
I took an oath. I will not let a patient suffer needlessly.
Even if the patient insists they're fine?
Especially then.
I sighed and debated trying to knock him off balance. Considering how heavy he was, it would probably be like trying to move a tree. How about I make the medicine and you tell me how? Heimos looked over his shoulder at me in confusion. That way you're only talking and not standing while you're obviously still in pain.
I am fine.
You are not. He scolded a bit and continued to work. I tried pushing him away from the desk. I put my hand on top of his. Heimos flinched at the gentle touch. His inhuman hand felt bitterly cold under my own, but I only tightened my grip on it. Heimos, look at me. Very reluctantly, he did so. Concern, pain, and care filled those beautiful blue eyes. I appreciate that you're worried about me and that you don't want me to be in pain. I gently touched his hand away from his tools. To my surprise, he let me do so. What I need you to understand is that I don't like you being in pain either. I don't want you to hurt yourself for my sake. So please, rest. I kept my hands clasped around his.
I can't. I don't want to risk anything.
His voice was so quiet.
What if you get it wrong? Then you're hurt, and I can't. Watch that.
I won't get it wrong. I'm a baker. Do you have any idea the kinds of recipes and instructions I have to follow to get something right?
I understand where your confidence comes from, but I still worry.
I could feel his hand twitch with anxious energy between my own. We can go slow then, doing each step until I get it right.
That might take a while.
That's fine. I'd rather us both be confident in the results. I watched Heimos chill on his human hands nails for a bit. He was deep in thought for a while. When he let out a defeated sigh, I knew I won. Thank you, Heimos. Heimos shifted away from the desk to rest on the blanket I brought him before. I used the hand I was holding to help him get settled in without collapsing.
I am going to be very particular about this.
I know.
Let's begin then.
Heimos guided me through each step carefully. I had to restart a few times, but I managed to make my own dose of medicine. I did have to get his help with the alchemical bits, since that needed his magic. Why don't we make a larger stockpile?
Their alchemy would fade and cause rapid decay of the natural ingredients.
That is why it must be prepared shortly before each dose is due. Really? Why? The alchemy used doesn't have a stabilizer in it, so it's a bit wild. I can't add one since that will send you straight into craziness. Your work is complicated. I hear the sleep in his voice even without looking down at him. When I did, he already dozed off again. I wrapped a blanket around him before heading off. I checked on him frequently while he recovered. To my relief, he didn't need too much longer to get back on his feet. Heimos' recovery was inhuman. He went from an art statue barely able to maintain his balance to walking and talking like usual in only 3 days. His injuries had seemed pretty severe, deep cuts and punctures. Those were just the ones I could actually see too. It was worrying. I wondered if he had a tendency to be reckless. You are staring at me again. Heimos didn't look up from where he was, sewing, of all things. I shook my head and moved to stand near where he was working on the ground. His hands moved with careful motions, and I could see his eyes sparkling with magic. It's so weird. It's amazing. Is it really? You're a doctor. You have to realize how amazing this is. To understand, I also wonder what the cause was. Cause? Constant chronic pain. Even though my injuries heal, the pain lingers. Thus, I always hurt. I went to sit down on the ground beside him. Is it really bad? In the beginning, yes. Now, just annoying. I'm so sorry. Everything has a consequence. My situation is nothing more than a consequence of my own actions. That still doesn't make it less unpleasant. To me, it does. I raised a brow. Even though it is a less than ideal situation, I am here because of my own choices. I wasn't forced here by the gods or anyone else. Thus, it's less of a bitter feeling. I kind of get it. I am aware that I am a bit odd. I don't think you're odd. Unique, maybe. Isn't that just a polite way to say odd? No. Well, in some contexts. Heimos laughed softly then. I didn't mean it in that context. That small, sweet smile lingered on his face. I felt my heart pound in my chest. He really was handsome, and it wasn't fair.
Yeah, it's really handsome. It's so pretty.
You might find it easier to draw a portrait. I blinked at him. He didn't look up from his work. You're staring again. I felt a surge of embarrassment rush through me then and turned my gaze away. It's a bit frustrating to have the shoe on the other foot, I have no idea what you're talking about. I knew exactly what he was talking about. All the same, this is a slight vengeance for your earlier teasing. I didn't know light flirting required vengeance.
She said it, she said it.
Vengeance. Vengeance is flirting to me. I choked on the air a bit. That was further than I expected.
Okay. He said that and then he blushed. Oh my god.
Heima's cheeks were a bit pink. I didn't mean to say that last bit out loud. I can tell. Vengeance as flirting?
Oh, that different blush. That blush is really dark, sir.
The tables had turned again, and Heimos knew it.
I couldn't stop laughing. Oh my god. I am very rusty at this.
Well, it's not like you had many prospects recently.
Exactly.
Just mean we can catch you up if you're open to it.
If I weren't, I would have told you a while ago.
I leaned closer to him then. He startled a bit when I rested my head on his shoulder, but he didn't move away.
Ooh. Mm. I'm cold.
I know, but your robes are soft.
Ah, so that's the reason for the flirting. I am to be a glorified fellow. Well, maybe.
A very pretty fellow.
Not prettier than you.
Hey, you're getting better.
I've always been a quick study. That's so cute. Oh man, both of them are so cute.
It was fun spending time with Heimos now. And any air of discomfort had faded into a calm serenity. The serenity shattered when Heimos' eyes flared blue and his hair froze over.
F.
I was surprised to hear him curse. Heimos stood up and pulled me up with him. I was stuck into his side. Heimos, what? I felt it then, eyes scanning the room. A twisted sensation of revulsion and terror ran through me. I fell silent and watched in horror as a shadow began to build itself from the wall. The figure was short and seemed to be dripping somehow. A vicious, serrated smile looked unnaturally wide on his face.
Well, what's this?
The voice was low and raspy.
Okay, I cannot do another low voice, so I'm going to make it seductive.
Slightly unhinged malice mixed with obviously manic glee.
Little Hay has a guess.
Those blank, eyeless eyes turned to me. Heimos' inhuman hand covered my face. I could feel something trying to press against me, but Heimos' power fended it off.
I have told you time and time again to request access.
Heimos' voice was sharp with anger. He didn't seem surprised, just furious.
You're the one who ignored my letter. I am still working on your request.
Then you should have said so.
I did. I told your little bat.
He didn't tell me this.
He's an irrational creation prone to fits of jealousy. It's not surprising he wouldn't pass on messages. He is perfect.
The new man sounded cold and angry now.
Only to you.
And you are perfect?
No, you are not. A mingled, pathetic product of the gods. I never claimed to be. Now, get out of my home.
Why?
Your pertinent question has been answered.
But I have new ones. The shadow surged forward then, lunging towards me. I must wrap his throat with his hand.
So protective, eh? Does this mean she is important then? Yes.
Heimos admitted it easily.
Which is why you should be very wary. You can't beat me. American, and they like me more than you. They're not here right now. No, but they'll show me some tricks.
Heimos tightened his hand. I watched in fascination as the shadow then cracked. It sounded like furniture twisting and breaking apart. Heimos! The angry yell was garbled and distorted. The shards of the shadow melted into a bottle. Heimos looked at the ichor on his hand in disgust before flicking it off.
Vile thing.
He looked down at me. He tightened his grip on me, worry obvious on his face.
I am so sorry. I didn't notice him creeping in.
Who was that?
Violo, another prisoner of the gods. An unpleasant one. I didn't expect him to creep in.
Shouldn't he be imprisoned?
His body is, but all of us can still astral project.
Astral project?
Send our minds out further. I'm the weakest, so it's very taxing for me. The others do it quite easily though.
You're the weakest?
I'm a bit different from the rest.
Heimos seemed to not want to talk about that more, so I didn't press the issue. Will he come back?
No time soon. I'm keeping an eye out now.
What did he want?
He made a request of me that I didn't find utterly repulsive. I've been working on that, and he is impatient.
What are you working on?
A medication for his reaction. It's gory work, so I won't go any further. Either way, don't worry about him. I will protect you. No matter what.
He spoke so earnestly, I could do nothing but believe him. Okay.
Sorry he ruined the mood.
Heimos finally released me then. His human hand slipped down my arm. Carefully, he twined our fingers together.
Should we... Alright. Should we go back to what we were doing before?
I would like that. We settled back down to continue talking. I never expected to have an encounter with another living god. Frankly, I was happy that Heimos was the one I had nearby. That one just seemed horrifying. It took a bit for the warm air to return, but we got there eventually. In just a few minutes, it was almost like the sudden encounter hadn't happened. I felt myself wondering more about him and the other prisoners. The question could wait for another time. Heimos fussed over me a bit after Violo's impromptu visit. While the encounter had been unpleasant, I did my best to reassure Heimos I was fine now. He seemed skeptical, but he let it go eventually.
I do promise that he's the other one that bad. Well, him and his pet.
Heimos spoke to me while we were both reading. He'd gone through the trouble of writing out a translation for a book I was interested in. He'll radically turn back red when I thank him.
Ah, so sweet.
Thus, we sat with our sides pressed against one another and our backs to the eye pillar. Heimos, who usually sat cross-legged, had his legs stretched out to let our legs touch too.
Ooh, cute.
It was cute. I looked up from my stack of papers to reply. I believe you.
Good.
Heimos looked wary. Are you okay?
His shadow has toxins in it. They are unpleasant to endure.
Toxins? I looked him up and down for signs of poison. When I leaned close, I could faintly see that some of his veins were black. Why?
Because he's petty.
Heimos shut.
It's not like it would kill me. It just feels uncomfortable.
Heimos, you are too reckless with your body.
There is nothing in this world that can kill me.
That doesn't mean it's okay to hurt yourself over and over. It's worrying. I frowned at him. Heimos let out a light huff at that. I felt a bit of frustration burn in me then. Maybe I should go break some bones.
What?
I'm thinking of ways to make you understand how this behavior of yours makes me feel. After all, I imagine you go to extreme lengths to keep me healthy and safe. Should I go be reckless with my body?
Of course not. Beyond the fact failure is always possible. There is no need to hurt yourself unnecessarily.
So it would make you uncomfortable if I did that?
Of course it would.
Heimos paused.
I see your point.
I knew you'd get there eventually. Heimos rolled his eyes at me.
I will strive to be more careful, though it is always difficult with some things.
I'm happy to hear you're at least willing to try.
I make no promises. Gods and living gods live dangerous existence.
That ominous statement made me wonder more about his situation. Heimos had opened up some, but there were still some obvious gaps in my knowledge. I'll have to ask him at some point.
And that should be a good pause in our playthrough of Sacrarium Gelus. So this time we learn more about the background of Heimos once again, and the mysteries of the black trees. It turns out the trees were once humans who had lost their minds. The red trees are also too, but humans who actually still sane, but they can't. Well, the black tree can't, but the red tree maybe can turn human again. And it was a punishment from the gods, which is too extreme indeed. And Heimos is somehow it's not like them, but we don't know the mysteries regarding that yet. We also met with another living god, another one who was imprisoned too, but was stronger and can spectral something, so send out their souls and stuff. And also an unpleasant one. Thank goodness Heimos is there to protect us, so handsome. There's also something burning between them, like romance. Their development is pretty nice too, very nice. So cute. Both of them were so cute. The flirting was cute, and the teasing back and forth, and the blush, so cute. Like light blush and then darker blush. Oh, what a cutie. Oh, Heimos is such a cutie. Anyway, that should be it for our playthrough today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next playthrough of Sacrarium Gelus. Bye bye!